after playing Saturday night against Sacramento. The Lakers rookie team coaching staff says sitting Bronny down was only a precaution. Bronny is expected to play Wednesday against the Miami Heat rookies in the final game of the California Classic. Compton native DeMar DeRozan had a chance to sign with the Lakers and Clippers as a free agent. He chose the Sacramento Kings. DeRozan signed a 3-year deal with Sacramento for $74 million. DeRozan played the last 3 years with Chicago. A major upset at Wimbledon Sunday. Coco Gauff, the last remaining African-American in the prestigious tennis tournament, lost in straight sets Sunday to American Emma Navarro. Gauff was the number 2 seed at Wimbledon. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California. Home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice campaign and the most loyal, influential audience. According to an independent research study by the polling firm Aviterus, for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@KBLA1580.com. That's advertising at KBLA1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got your black.
Tavis Smiley, and I am thrilled to know that you are still with us in this hour of our program. Thank you for that. It has been quite a show. In case you missed the first couple hours today, what a show this has been. There's just so much breaking news, so much happening in the world. I'm just trying to keep up. But I am delighted to welcome back to this program my friends Fox and Rob. I call them friends now because they've been here before, and we've hung out just a little bit. Her name is Silver Fox. His name is Robert Richardson. They are affectionately known as Fox and Rob. And as I said, I'm pleased to have them back on the program this time to share the compelling story once again of redemption and love after 20-plus years as an incarcerated black family. We will talk about their life-changing ministry work, and we will talk about their new award-winning documentary, Time to Unfinished Business. If you are a long-time listener of this program, first of all, thank you. We have picked up a lot more, many more markets since Fox and Rob were here now in our syndications. We're heard all across the country. So some of you may have heard them on this program a while ago. You may not have heard them at all, but you will in a moment. They're an amazing couple. We'll talk about their Louisiana roots, but you should know that the first film about their love story was Academy nominated in the documentary category. That's how good the first film was about their love stories. It was so good, they decided to do it again. And so this one is called Time to Unfinished Business. We'll let them tell you more about it after I play for you now the trailer for the new documentary, which premiered at the Essence Festival this past weekend in New Orleans. It's called Time to Unfinished Business.
God, I thank you for this day. For another opportunity to be able to get it right. Another opportunity to be of service to someone in need. Thank you for my health. Thank you for your strength. Thank you for my peace of mind. I ask that you continue to give me the strength and courage to fight against injustice. Spirit of love, so that I can continue being loving to those that love me. And even find enough love in my heart to love those who despise or maybe even hate me. And all the things that I have prayed and asked you for, they've already been given to me. My prayer this morning is just to show my gratitude and say thank you. Let it be so, and so it is. Amen.
On September 20th, 2018, I walked out of Angola State Penitentiary. I kissed and held my wife unrestricted for the first time in 21 years. But my heart was heavy as I was forced to leave my nephew and fall partner behind. It became clear to me in that very moment that to be free is to free others.
It's called Time 2, Unfinished Business. And I'm looking at my clock here. It'd be unfair to give Fox and Rob an opportunity to respond to the question I want to ask in just a matter of seconds. Let me just do this. Let me just welcome them to the program. And when we come forward, we'll start this conversation. Let me just hear their voices. Fox, how are you today?
I'm better now that we are here with you, Tavis Smiley, and your community. Yes.
It is a delight to hear your voice, girl. Rob Rich, how are you, sir?
Man, I am excited and man, just really doing well. I woke up this morning, so half the battle was met.
There you go. Half the battle is done. If you open your eyes, man, that's a beautiful thing. So now you've heard their voices. You know I ain't lying. They are here. When we come forward, we will talk about we will talk with Fox and Rob about this new documentary, A Time 2, Unfinished Business. But for those who don't know the backstory, we'll ask them to tell it one more again. I know they. There's a part of me that feels they probably get tired of telling it, but knowing them as I do, every time they tell it, people get inspired, they get empowered, they get uplifted, they're in tears, and so I'm going to ask them one more again to tell the story, the backstory of how this all happened, and we'll work our way up to this second documentary. When you hear the story about why Rob was in prison in the first place, what actually went down, you'll want to hear that, and we'll jump from there. When we come forward, Fox and Rob on Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Our city's hottest weeks of summer are approaching. If you're 60 or older, you're at risk of heat stroke or worse. Extreme heat can kill. That's why KBLA Talk 1580 is part of our year-long climate justice campaign, has partnered with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power and the LA City Department of Aging for LADWP's Powered by Equity event, Heat Relief for Seniors Resource Fair. Join fellow LA seniors who hope to beat the heat and stay safe on Monday, July 15th, 10 a.m. at the Watts Labor Community Action Center in South Los Angeles. Learn about LADWP's Easy Save and Level Pay programs to help lower your monthly electric bill. and there will be tips and resources to be ready and safe in the heat. LADWP customers 60 years or older will be eligible to receive a portable air conditioner while supplies last. Personal ID and your LADWP bill are required. Contact your LA Department of Aging Neighborhood Senior Center for Cool LA Heat Relief for Seniors participation details, or visit www.ladwp.com/events.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1904 $20 Gold Liberty coins have been found. These gorgeous 1904p gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 500 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1904 Gold Liberty struck at the iconic Philadelphia Mint. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1904 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 120 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-973-3083. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus, a $75 value free with every order. Call 1-800-973-3083 now to secure your 1904p $20 Gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-973-3083.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Fox and Rob, Sybil Fox and Robert Richardson, affectionately known as Fox and Rob, as they share their compelling story of redemption and love after 21 years as an incarcerated family. We'll talk about their amazing ministry work and this new documentary, Time 2, Unfinished Business, after I asked Fox and Rob to just take a few minutes to tell the audience who may not know the backstory. You can't get to the sequel without going through the first one, right? So for those who didn't see the first movie, documentary, I highly recommend it. As a matter of fact, let me just recommend to you that you see the first one before you see the second one. It actually obviously makes sense. That's why it's called Time 2. So if you want to be up to speed, I highly recommend getting your hands on the first one. Where is that a Fox? Is that thing streaming somewhere right now, the original?
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime, Tavis.
Okay, Amazon Prime. So go to Amazon Prime and check out Time. That's the original, and this one's called Time 2. So Amazon Prime, you'll get trust me, you'll find it's arresting. But check out Time on Amazon Prime, and then check out Time 2. Before we get to Time 2, Fox, Rob, however you want to do it, I'll let y'all figure it out. But I want the audience just to know the backstory that was covered in the first film.
Yes, indeed. Once again, Tavis, just thank you as always for having us on the show.
Yes, sir.
Giving us a platform to spread our story. For those who are just listening in for the first time, hearing the story of Fox and Rob, we are a formerly incarcerated couple who spent more than 21 years behind bars before receiving clemency in 2018. And probably one of the biggest takeaways that we had from that experience is that to be free is to free others. With that being said, we're also the subject, as you've already made mention of the Oscar-nominated documentary Time, as well as the highly anticipated sequel, Time 2, Unfinished Business, where we explore, just what that unfinished business was for Fox and I upon my release September 20th of 2018.
Yep. For those who are curious, as people always are, when you said you were incarcerated for 21 years, what landed you behind bars? Rob, tell the story.
Well, just in an act of desperation, as I think it's always been said that when people find themselves in desperate situations, they do desperate things. Mm-hmm. We were a young, aspiring couple, ambitious, was hopeful to start a hip-hop clothing store back in the mid-'90s. And an investor pulled out on us, and in an act of desperation, in an effort to regain financial solvency and build out our dream of opening Shreveport's first hip-hop clothing store, we decided to regain financial solvency by robbing a bank. And we found out soon thereafter that was the worst decision, rather, that we could have ever made in that moment. And God knows that when you make those type of mistakes, it's either one going to floor you to the point that you never make it back up, or it's going to be a grand opportunity for God to show how amazing He is.
You mentioned clemency earlier, Rob. So, Fox, I come to you now. The clemency, I'll let you tell that story in just a moment because you were the one working day and night to get your husband out for all those years, 2+ decades. But remind the audience and remind me of what that sentence was that Rob was facing.
Rob had a practical life sentence. It was 61 years as a first offense in a crime that nobody received medical treatment in, Tavis. And that's not to say no harm was caused, because anytime we break the societal codes, we cause harm. But it wasn't enough harm to take his life and subject him to a lifetime in incarceration and away from his family, away from his 6 sons, and away from his wife.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about that journey. I'm just fast forwarding you to get to the sequel here, but want the audience to get a sense of the backstory before they go to Amazon Prime and check out Time, the original documentary about their love story. So for those 21 years, tell me what you were doing year in and year out, day in and day out to get your husband out of prison, who essentially was facing a life sentence.
Well, I think one of the things we'd have to do is just reframe it. It wasn't just to get my husband out of prison, because when you have an incarcerated loved one, the entire family is incarcerated.
Yes.
The entire family's resources are now redirected toward this penal system. And so what I spent 21 years and 4 days fighting for alongside my family was for the restoration of our entire family. And so it's like a never-ending battle when you're trying to find your way out of this maze, because once this system gets you, it's intentional, just like slavery itself through the Dred Scott decision to intend for that incarceration to be for life. And so knowing how important the institution of family is to us, knowing that it is the greatest institution that I think that human beings have when you walk on this life's journey, it then convicted us to a point that we became unrelenting about restoring our family. It was taken from us at our own hands. We accepted that responsibility, but we were not going to allow the state-sanctioned violence against our family to stand. And that means that every day we had to fight, and every day we had to figure it out. And so it was actually our son Freedom that we talk about in the book, to the Oscar-nominated documentary Time that we shared with the Tavis Smiley audience, that our son Freedom was the one that was actually able to get us to the person that would ultimately reach the governor to get my husband's signature for his clemency. So when I tell you that freedom is a family affair, Tavis Smiley, freedom is a family affair. And no one member can rest on their laurels when we're fighting for freedom. And that's what we're hopeful that Time 2 does. People say, well, Time 1 was so amazing. It won the Peabody Award. It was nominated for an Oscar. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Time movie, the documentary, is one of the top 50 films of the 21st century. According to Time magazine, it says that Time movie was one of the top 25 films of the Black Renaissance. Then you may turn to me, your listening audience, and say, then why do you want to come behind something that has already done such a good job and, spoken this message so far and wide? And for us, Tavis, it's because we weren't done yet.
Yeah.
When Rob walked out of that prison, we left behind our nephew, Rob's nephew, our fall partner, who also had been unjustly sentenced. And so what we have to understand is that it is our duty to fight for our freedom. Yes, we are wrong. We pay the price for our wrongdoings. But when the state sanctions violence against us, we must stand.
Yep. Tell me a quick word, and I'll move on to Time 2. I just want to give, a full circle view of this first documentary that people, again check out on Amazon Prime even as we speak. The clemency part. Rob is facing basically a life sentence, and most folk never experience what it means to have a governor of a state give you clemency. How did that happen, Rob?
Well, as Fox had made mention, clemency or freedom itself is indeed a family affair. Our son Freedom happened to be college at Tulane University, visiting a neighboring college at Loyola, where a gentleman was there speaking. That gentleman being Frank Luntz. Freedom went over to hear him speak. He was accompanied by our governor as well as the the heads of Loyola University at that time, and Freedom stood up to ask the gentleman a question, to which he turns and he says, "Hey, kid," he says, "don't leave." He says that I'm going to change your life. Him saying that ultimately ended up into a cup of coffee the following morning with Fox and Freedom together. And he asked, what is it that I can do for you? And Freedom told him, he said, there's three things that you can actually do for me. He said, there's one is that if you know the governor, he says, my dad needs his freedom. And he said, it's not necessarily for me and my older brothers, but it's for my younger brother, because I believe that he deserves the right to grow up with our father in the home. He said, secondly, I need money for school. And then thirdly, there's a geriatric supervision of law that our family has been working on to restore my father and countless other men and women that are unjustly situated in our prison right now due to the misinterpretation of a law. To which the gentleman, Frank Luntz, gave him his word. And I remember when Freedom told me who the guy was, I was like, well, who is Frank Luntz? He was like, oh, Dad, he was that guy that Barack Obama said that if Frank Luntz ever invites you to lunch, you better, you very well better go. And it turned out to be that that was the cup of coffee that set in place the things that we needed in order to bring about our freedom. Frank spoke to our governor, and in exchange, the governor told him that in the event that Rob passes my clemency board or passes my pardon board, he says that I would agree to sign his pardon. And true to his word, after I had gotten past the clemency process and had gotten a favorable recommendation from the board, he, being a man of his word, did in fact sign my pardon. And crazy enough, when you made mention about the fact that very few people know the experience of having a governor sign their clemency, I was the only person in 2018 that was incarcerated that received the signature of the governor. And that has just been a long history of practices that have been happening for governors all across our state, following the Willie Lynch situation that happened when then Governor Dukakis was running for presidency, and he had offered a furlough.
Willie Horton.
Yeah, and as a result of it, it made all governors step back from signing clemencies, because the gentleman had committed another act while he was out on furlough, and that pretty much made all governors put their pens up.
Yep. Fox, I heard you about to get it. You were trying to jump in to say something when Rob was telling that story about the governor.
No, I was just thinking that, Rob was being able to share that it was over 2,000 applicants that even submitted for a clemency during that time frame, and just thought it was really important for Rob to highlight that out of those applicants, out of all of the ones that were incarcerated, we were the only family, unfortunately, that received clemency in 2018. So that is how hard it is to come by, but it's not impossible, Tavis. Yeah. And I think that that's one of the things about what's going on in our country right now is that, we need Joe Biden to pick up his pen a little bit more, a whole lot more, because we got a whole lot of people that fell under his administration to the truth in sentencing laws that he pushed, and they need reprieve.
Yeah. Two things come to mind. First of all, if you've been around for a little while, then you know the name Willie Horton. Interestingly, I just raised that name earlier in the program. Because this is a separate issue, and Fox and Rob, y'all be quiet for a second. I don't want to get y'all in trouble, so just be quiet for a second. I don't want to make y'all political. You mentioned Biden. Let me take it a step further. I did a commentary on this program some days ago about Kamala Harris. Everybody's talking about Kamala, and I offered a commentary about a number of things that I think people need to be sober about. First of all, Joe Biden said he ain't going nowhere. That's another issue. Said that as recently as today on MSNBC on Morning Joe. We discussed that in our first hour today. But I raised the name Willie Horton because I said to this audience, you need to be clear about this. If, for whatever reason, Kamala were to become the nominee, she is the new Willie Horton. I can assure you, for those who know politics, when they get done Willie Hortonizing Kamala, she ain't going to know what happened to her. Her head would be spinning. Because if you think that Willie Horton commercial that they used against Dukakis was bad, hear me on this. If you think that Willie Horton commercial that they hammered Michael Dukakis was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. When they get done with her and Willie Hortonizing her and reminding the country that she's black and that she's married to a white man, and you have an interracial couple in the White House, and this ain't my first rodeo. So I used that phrase Willie Horton earlier, and so here comes Rob now, totally disconnected from that conversation, using the name Willie Horton. So here's Willie Horton's name popping up again in this show and in this conversation. It was just fascinating to hear you say that. I said, no, I know he did not say Willie Horton. I just talked about Willie Horton a little bit ago. So anyway, that's sort of funny. But the second thing that comes to mind when Rob was telling that story, and I told you guys this when you were on for the documentary Time, the original. I know Frank Luntz. Frank Luntz and I have been friends for years. And many times, politically, Frank and I do not agree. If the name Frank Luntz sounds familiar to you, let me tell you who he is. You'll recognize it when I connect it for you. Frank Luntz is the white guy who you see oftentimes on TV. He's a major pollster. He's a major pollster oftentimes for the Republican Party, but he is a major pollster. He does these sessions with voters. He's really, really good at these voter sessions, and he's written some pretty good books. One of them I've read 1,000 times, and Frank and I talk about all the time about words and language and how words matter, how language matters. So Frank, again, I've known for decades. We've been friends forever. We've traveled together, done all kinds of stuff together, and when I heard that it was Frank who was at the center of this, who made this happen. I went to lunch with Frank one day. I said, Frank, how did you get involved in this? How did you? So it's a fascinating story. So I know Fox and Rob now, but I knew Frank before I ever knew them. And so to know the guy, the white brother, who's at the center of keeping his word to this black family is a major thing unto itself. And so I told Frank, for as long as I live and as long as I know you, I will always be grateful to you for keeping your word. When it came to Fox and Rob and their family. It's just an amazing story. And I laugh sometimes, Fox, you take my point. Frank was the most unlikely person to do this in some ways.
Well, that's what our guy does.
Yes,
He is the most unlikely. Yes. And so you're not the only one who's baffled by the fact that Frank Luntz was so intimately involved in our freedom. Frank Luntz is surprised that he was intimately involved in our freedom. And so much so that he says that we changed his life. Yeah. Meeting our family changed his life. And that's why we find this storytelling so important, is because we know that through these narratives, we can change people's heart. And how we change the policies is through changing the heart and mind of the man. That automatically will change the flawed policy.
No, that's the point. You put your finger out on it. God can do anything but fail. That is, anything but fail. And you never know who God's going to use in your situation. You just never know. So all you can do is just trust the process and know that his way is better than your way. But Frank, again, is the most unlikely person to have been at the epicenter of this story. But again, God uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things, and sometimes not the person that you thought God was going to use. On that note, I digress. When we come forward, now that you have a better understanding of the backstory, a bit of the backstory, again, it ain't nothing like the documentary, so trust me, Fox and Rob did a great job just now, but you still ought to go to Amazon Prime and watch that original documentary, Time. You will not be disappointed. And then you can watch Time 2, Unfinished Business, which we'll talk about. We got some unfinished business here to talk about Time 2 when we come forward with Fox and Rob on Tavis Smiley.
Unapologetically progressive. Unapologetically black. You're tapped into Tavis Smiley.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
We thank you for joining us here on the Black Information Network. Now, another update on Hurricane Beryl. More than 2 million customers are without power as the storm lashes Texas. That's according to poweroutage.us. Outages are expected to continue as the Category 1 storm moves inland. Heavy rains and gusty winds are creating the risk of flooding and tornadoes. The Essence Festival closed out Sunday night in New Orleans, Louisiana, marking the 30th anniversary of the event that showcases and celebrates black culture. The final night featured a performance from Janet Jackson and a tribute to Frankie, Beverly, and Mays, the act that closed out the fest for its first several years. Organizers say the festival pumped more than $300 million into the local economy. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Want to save up to 50% on new blinds and shades? Blindstar offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters at prices way less than big box retailers. And right now, save up to 50% off any order during Blindstar's July 4th sale. Hurry, sale ends July 8th. Blindstar.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers held Bronny James out of Sunday's game against Golden State in the California Classic in San Francisco. LeBron's son had some swelling in his left knee after playing Saturday night against Sacramento. The Lakers rookie team coaching staff says sitting Bronny down was only a precaution. Bronny is expected to play Wednesday against the Miami Heat rookies in the final game of the California Classic. Compton native DeMar DeRozan had a chance to sign with the Lakers and Clippers as a free agent. He chose the Sacramento Kings. DeRozan signed a 3-year deal with Sacramento for $74 million. DeRozan played the last 3 years with Chicago. A major upset at Wimbledon Sunday. Coco Gauff, the last remaining African-American in the prestigious tennis tournament, lost in straight sets Sunday to American Emma Navarro. Gauff was the number 2 seed at Wimbledon. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like your style, though.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
All right, Fox and Rob, let me pick up on the point that Sybil Fox made earlier in this conversation. When you look at all of the heat, I mean the good heat, that was generated by the original documentary Time about your compelling story of redemption after 20 plus years as an incarcerated family. There is always a risk. I mean, whenever I live in Hollywood, as you know, I'm here in L.A. We're syndicated across the country, but I'm based in L.A. Last time I saw the two of you were hanging out at a restaurant together here in L.A. So that sequels are always risky, and oftentimes people think they don't live up to the original. There was so much heat on that first one. Why think about Fox doing another one?
Because I wasn't done yet, Tavis Smiley.
I expected that.
I had more
I
to
expected that. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think I would have to even walk back when you talk about taking you back. The first concept of even doing a documentary on our story actually came from Rob.
Mm-hmm.
We thought that if we didn't raise national attention about our story, we were going to die in prison because we were almost 20 years in and we weren't getting any movement anywhere.
Yeah.
And, you know, everybody feels sorry for you, but ain't nobody about to do nothing to help you undo your circumstance.
Yeah.
And so Rob suggested that we do a documentary. I started working on it, and as God would have it, God sent me Garrett Bradley, who was working on a 15-minute short for the New York Times. And I asked her, hey, I'm working to tell our story. Would you go back and ask the New York Times to fund this story? To which they did greenlight the short doc. And it was supposed to be a 15-minute op doc, our story, on the New York Times website. It wasn't until I gave Garrett Bradley my 21 year of archive footage that I had been documenting this family story, this family struggle, that this 15-minute op doc became what would be timed the full feature film.
Yep. Tell me, I'm glad you went there. I'm so glad you went there. This is, I want everybody to listen. This is both the answer to this question, which I don't know what it's going to be, but I know the answer is going to be both instructive and informative. And for all the documentaries that I've done in my own career and all the books I've written in my own career, there's a particular part of my journey that I wish I had done what Fox had the good sense to do, and I didn't. When I was going through a particular phase of my own career, I wish I had done what she did. But tell me about why all this time, not knowing how this story is going to end, having no idea that clemency was coming, having no idea that an Academy Award nominated doc was going to come out of this. Why all this time, over these 21 years, were you documenting, were you archiving this story? To your point, you guys are incarcerated, and you can't hear nobody praying. The cavalry ain't coming. Nothing is moving year after year, decade one, decade two, and yet all along you were documenting this. You were archiving this, Fox. Why?
Because I had been ordained. My prayer when I was in prison, Tavis Smiley, was that God would let me use my voice for the voiceless, for the countless sisters and brothers that I knew that were far less educated and having less means than I had. And so I know if my family was suffering through this state-sanctioned violence to the manner in which we were, I could only imagine how many other families were even worse off than we were. And so I didn't know exactly how, I didn't know exactly when, but I knew that I must. When we determine that a thing must be done, Tavis Smiley, we find a doggone way. And when you think about what a videotape cost back in the early 2000s, late 90s, I was paying almost as much for a videotape as I could to pay to fill up my entire car with a tank of gas. That's how determined I was about documenting this footage. And that is also why when we allowed them to use our footage for time the documentary, while we maintained all of our rights to our footage, because I knew how much I had sacrificed to document.
Oh no, you got to control your IP, your intellectual property, and I'm glad, not that I'm surprised. I know that you and Rob both were smart enough to make sure you retained ownership of all the footage that you had shot, that you were licensing for use in that documentary.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant decision. That's how you do it, man. It's a brilliant decision. So y'all are many things, but stupid ain't one of them. So I'm glad you held those rights. Which leads me, I'm working my way to time too. But the original time would not have been what it was, Fox, in my mind. And having seen it more times than I can count now, it would not have been what it was had they not had access to your footage.
At all.
Yeah.
Not at all. It was it comprised of the majority of our archive footage. Yeah. And so for me, when Rob walked out of those gates and we understood that to be free was to free others, we knew that it was just the beginning of life's challenges for us, because we had a duty and an obligation. Our family wasn't still restored yet. Our nephew, our fall partner, was left behind. And just like you leave people in war, you come home with what they call survivor's guilt. Yep. We changed that into survivor's ambition and knew that we had a duty to restore him. And so we knew that when we would pull this off, it would be worthy of remarks. So whether we were concerned about someone would be interested in the sequel, I think people love sequels.
Yeah.
Now, if it ends up being as good as the first, then that's up to the viewer to decide.
Right.
But I do know that we love to know more. Even Jeffrey Katzenberg, when he finished watching Time, shared with us that it just left him wanting to know so much more.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to give people the backstory on how we got freedom, because you don't see that in Time. And then, two, we wanted to make sure that we could show people what is possible when we believe that we can take on these systems. We don't need fairy godmothers to come in and rescue our people, that God has given us what we need in order to free our people. It's just our responsibility to get it done.
So, Rob, I'm asking you this question unapologetically and deliberately. Rob Rich, who directed Time 2?
The incomparable Fox Rich directed Time 2.
That's just my baby daddy.
Yeah.
I tell you that she directed that thing. Tavis, she directed that thing.
Tell me,
one of the.
Go ahead, Rob.
I'm listening.
No, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
tell me about taking direction from your wife when it comes to doing the documentary. Tell me about it, man.
This is one woman I have no problems, no qualms taking direction from. She has shown herself to definitely be worthy of following.
Yeah.
And probably one of the two of the greatest assets that was given to us in this process. You mentioned earlier about the challenges that are faced when trying to follow up behind such a stellar project as the first. And two things that were probably really pivotal to us was reading one book called Save the Cat. And the other one was another book on documentaries that one of the members of our film team, Daniel LaFrance, the young producer, gave to us. And in it talked about a gentleman who is widely known as the godfather of documentaries, Robert Flattery. And in it, crazy enough, he said that whenever you take pieces of recorded reality and creatively organize them into a narrative, you have created a documentary. And with that simple math, with that simple formula, to watch Fox go from recorded pieces of reality that she has taken from over 30 years worth of archive, and to not use any of the footage that she gave to the first documentary, to come back and then extract, because we were cleaning my mother-in-law's house, doing a makeover on a home, and we were cleaning out one of the sheds, and Fox was always wondering, like, well, why did they not use as a launching pad or a starting point in the first documentary our wedding tapes? And come to find out, they didn't use them because they didn't have them. We found them in a shed along with 40 plus other videotapes that Fox had stored away that had well over 30 years worth of archive. And I keep mentioning archive because when you think about a city like New Orleans that experienced the Great Flood, that of Hurricane Katrina.
Sure.
We see a fading archive, especially in the black community right now, where people have lost so much, through tragedy, through storms and those kind of things. But for this woman to have 30 plus years of home footage that she has been able to creatively organize into a narrative, man, I can't wait till y'all see the second documentary. And I don't even say take my words for it, but Kenya Barris of Blackish had an opportunity to see the completed documentary in a private setting, and to which he said that he actually liked it better than the first, and he fell in love with the first one so much that it was through him that we even met Jeffrey Katzenberg and Lena Waite, and just some really other remarkable filmmaker people, and for him to come back and say that he actually liked it better than the first, that's a worthy expression. From
it's more than worthy. Kenya's got an eye. He got a track record to prove it. He has an eye. So if Kenya Barris says he likes Time 2, Unfinished Business better than the original Time movie, then that ought to be enough to want to make you want to see it. That's high praise coming from Kenya Barris. More with Fox and Rob talking about Time 2, Unfinished Business, the documentary that Fox directed. I ain't mad at you when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good.
Yeah, man.
Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downy are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win. No purchase necessary. US/DC 17+. End September 30th. Rules. Tide.com/scholarship/official rules.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
KBLA Talk 1580 is now celebrating 3 years of amplifying our voice and uplifting our community. We deeply appreciate your support of this radio station and will always do our level best to earn your support. Here's to many more years of loving and serving our community. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
I know it's gonna happen without you.
Securing your firearms protects lives. Pick up your free gun safety lock at select LA County libraries and hospitals. Learn more about other gun safety measures you can take to keep our families and communities safe. Visit lacountygunsafety.org or call 1-833-540-0473 for more resources on gun safety. Together, we can save lives.
Sounds different, huh? This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley with Fox and Rob as we celebrate their new documentary, Time to Unfinished Business. So, Fox, tell me about taking on the task of directing this thing. It's one thing to have shot all this footage. It's another thing to read how to do a documentary and what the process is. It is quite another thing to direct the documentary. Tell me about that part, Fox.
Oh, man, you know, black women been directing all their lives, Tavis Smiley.
Ain't that the truth?
It's just one other element in life. Yeah, we've been directing our whole lives. The church service, the schools, our families. God has blessed us to be directors.
Yeah. You were not intimidated?
I think for me, it was just a part of any time that you say you're going to do something, then I have to live up to my word, and so I know that this was an important story that had to be told. And so just trying to figure out how God was going to guide me through learning those lessons without bumping in my head too much. But I had a perfect model. I already had an Oscar-nominated documentary to go behind.
Yeah.
So all I had to do was plug the holes and trust God's process to guide me. And when I tell you he brought together the perfect team for us, other people that dreamed and believed the impossible was possible. And we have created this amazing project that had its world premiere this past Saturday at Essence Film Festival in New Orleans.
Yep, I saw that, and I mentioned that earlier. I was so excited that you all had a chance in your home state to actually premiere this thing. How was the response?
Well, I'll just say that we packed the house with over 300 people in the largest theater that they had.
Yeah.
I'll say that the billboards flashing all over town of the movie poster drew the crowd in. I'll say that when the film ended, it ended with a standing ovation that lasted almost a minute long, Tavis Smiley. And I'll say it wasn't one of those standing ovations where one person stand, then another person look and say, oh, well, they stood, let me stand. And then another person, well, I guess I better stand too. It was it wasn't the polite standing ovation. It was as soon as the film was over, everybody in the audience was on their feet and they were applauding and cheering. And I couldn't have planned it no better, except God said on Sunday when they did the award ceremony that it was so good on Saturday that on Sunday we did take home the award for Best Feature Documentary
That's
at
what
the
I'm
2024 Essence Film Festival Award.
That's what I'm
Out
talking
of 108 others.
Wow. 108 projects, and y'all took home the prize.
Talk to me.
Yeah, I ain't mad at you, and I'm not surprised when we come forward. Now, congratulations on that, by the way. I suspect this film will be entered into a number of festivals, and it just as it did at Sundance years ago, it got everybody's attention. It's just an amazing story, this love story of Fox and Rob, and I expect that Time 2, Unfinished Business, will do as well, if not better, than the original. When we come forward, I want to just give them a few minutes. That's all I have left anyway, a few minutes, to let them speak on this notion that you've heard them, this phraseology you've heard both of them use in this conversation, that to be free is to free others. To be free is to free others. They talked about the survivor's guilt of leaving their nephew behind. But I'll give them both a chance to just unpack that for us, what it means for them when they say to us that to be free is to free others. We'll close on that note with Fox and Rob when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Hey LA, today I'm here to talk to you about Grid Alternatives, which is a nonprofit in LA that focuses on renewable energy. We serve communities who have been left out of the renewable energy sector. We offer paid job training, and in 13 weeks, you can become a solar installer. 80% of our graduates get hired into the industry, and once you're hired in the industry, you stop at a high, medium income. That could be $20 an hour or more. 80% of our graduates get hired into the industry. Call today so you don't be left out at 323-861-0105 or gridalternatives.org, gridalternatives.org.
Ready to re-examine your assumptions and expand your inventory of ideas? More of Tavis Smiley coming your way right now.
More Fox and Rob coming your way right now. I got about 4 minutes left here. Fox and Rob have product. They got product, y'all. The book that we referenced earlier is called Time, The Untold Story of the Love That Held Us Together When Incarceration Kept Us Apart. It's called Time, The Untold Story of the Love That Held Us Together When Incarceration Kept Us Apart. That book is available wherever fine books are sold. If you go to Amazon right now, you can get the book. But then wherever fine books are sold, you can get it. There's the original documentary, Time, that you can watch on the Amazon Prime. You can watch that documentary, the original, and the one that we've been talking about today is the sequel. It's called Time 2 Unfinished Business. I got about 3 minutes left here, Fox and Rob. I'll give it to you to use however you wish. But talk to me about what it means for you both when you say that to be free is to free others.
Well, for me, Tavis, it's just a matter of understanding that we have a duty and an obligation to fight for our freedom in this country. And the truth be told, until the exception clause is moved out of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, then black people in America are not free. And so until that happens, we all have work to continue to do to fulfill the dreams and hopes of our ancestors that has existed for over 400 years since we've been in this country, to be free.
Rob?
That's right. And if I could add to it, I think in another set of words, Toni Morrison probably said it best in a interview that she did with the Boston Globe when she said that the function of freedom is to free someone else. So when you think about, something like that, like I said, it's a very fundamental statement, and that is that we all have a duty and a responsibility to free someone else. 1 in 3 people in our country right now are strapped with the felony conviction, and 1 in 2 of us are impacted by a loved one that is incarcerated. More clearly, what that looks like, our former President Trump represents that 1/3 of people, as he is a person now strapped with a conviction, and now our current President Joe Biden, whose son could potentially be on his way to prison, is someone who has a loved one that is in prison. So this is not just a black problem, a brown people problem, a broke people problem, disenfranchised people problem. This is an American problem, and it needs to be fixed. And I think the starting point is we need to have a real serious conversation about the exception to our Constitution as it relates to slavery, because only in you be duly convicted of a crime is slavery once again realized, and we need to get past that.
Madam Director, I'll give you the last word. When, where, and how will this be seen broadly, the new one, Time 2 Unfinished Business?
Well, right now, Tavis, we are working the festival circuit, and I know you're out there in Hollywood, and I know that your listeners are probably the listeners I need to speak to when I say that on July 12th, we find out if we got into Martha's Vineyard Film Festival. And so if you know somebody or one of your friends works with Martha Vineyard or any of those things, or either you just can send a little prayer for us about Martha's Vineyard, we do hope to have this film premiere in Martha's Vineyard in August. And then from there, it's just the rest of the festival circuit until we can find distribution for.
There you go. That's how it works. You do the festival circuit, everybody goes crazy for it, and before you know it, they offer you $5 or $10 million to put your thing on. That's how it worked the first time, and that's how it's gonna work again. They killed it the first time, they gonna kill it again. It's called Time 2 Unfinished Business. Their names are Sybil Fox and Robert Richardson, better known to their friends as Fox and Rob, and I consider myself one of their friends. Love you both. Good to have you on. I'll talk to you soon offline.
Thank you, sir.
Love you, Tavis.
Love you back. Take care. Just like that, 3 hours gone. Back here tomorrow, Lord willing, to do it all over again. Until then, thanks for tuning in, and as always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
We thank you for joining us here on the Black Information Network. Now, another update on Hurricane Beryl. More than 2 million customers are without power as the storm lashes Texas. That's according to poweroutage.us. Outages are expected to continue as the Category 1 storm moves inland. Heavy rains and gusty winds are creating the risk of flooding and tornadoes. The Essence Festival closed out Sunday night in New Orleans, Louisiana, marking the 30th anniversary of the event that showcases and celebrates black culture. The final night featured a